Hey everyone, Jim T. Graham with RCGroups.com. We're here today with Stewart from Hobbyking. Stewart, I've known you a long, long time.
Yes, I know. And the more we talk, the more we say that, and the longer it is. So it all makes you
Yes.
really old now.
Well, let's keep going in that direction. That should be awesome. We're here today to talk about two airplanes in particular. We're going to talk about the Yak-11 and the Carbon Arcus.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we're going to start out with that Yak-11, but I want to say right off the bat, as a guy who used to be around in the early days of foamy 3D and all the indoor competitions, that Carbon Arcus really reminds me of early designs when the big boys were getting serious about things.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's got quite a lineage, that one. It's it's a classic FRA style aerobatic model, and that's very much what we based it on. But for the model itself, it's if you cast your mind back, I think it was probably around 8 or 9 years ago, we had the original Arcus, just called the Durafly Arcus, or maybe it was just the Hobbyking Arcus. I think it was just Hobbyking Arcus at that point. And it was very, very good, but we just kind of released it on the quiet, and it was popular. People loved it, and then we were, having a think a year or so back, and we was thinking, what ones could we possibly bring back? And we'd already discussed the Arcus, sometime before that, and then it came up again. And we thought, well, it was a good model then, with a little bit more, refinements. It could be a good model again. Right. And it's a fantastic model. I mean, it's very, very streamlined. It flies exceptionally well. It's obviously, it doesn't have the look of a particular plane, because it's, by breed, a model plane. It's not a scale plane meant to look like anything other than a model that's designed to fly well, and that's why it looks as it does. The point being, throughout it's a model and only a model, but it flies very, very well. It's a great pattern and FRA type subject. But if you're looking to get into your first kind of aerobatic model, it's very, very good for that too. And it hasn't had a massive amounts of improvements, but some refinements, and it's more about bringing a popular model back to the market, because it just wasn't there for us. We needed an aerobatic model to fill the space on our shelves in this category, and people loved it so much that it was kind of a no-brainer for us. So we're excited to bring it back out in this, what we call the Carbon Arcus form.
And the whole concept here is it flies like it's on rails. It's got that long tail, and it would allow you to do very precise maneuvers.
It is very precise, and that's why we've worked. One of the improvements we did make, we fitted better quality servos with better centering, more power, more torque and speed. So it was precise before, and now it's just even more so. And it's got good torque. It's on 4S with a really nice power combination on that. We're very, very happy with that. As you're watching the video there, this is Andres, who's actually our cameraman, but he's a far better aerobatic 3D pilot than I. And he was just doing a knife edge loop there, and it holds a knife edge very, very well, and it's got the power to do a full knife edge loop, and many, many other things besides. But this actual shoot, this video that we're watching now, this is not the Arcus at its best, because I was behind the camera, and I used to shoot a lot of videos, but I haven't done for a while, so the camera work's not the best, and B, we were flying a different field to what we usually fly at. It was at the end of an event in Belgium, so we was tired and we was getting it done, and it was a bit of a strange place. And C, Andres was a bit nervous on camera, so he wasn't even flying at this best. But it's
what a beautiful day.
Yeah, it was just at the end of the day. It's still a little bit windy. It still looks good, but what we really want to do, we're very fortunate to have the Dutch, because we're in the Netherlands here where I am now. We have the Dutch national FRA champion at our club, and I've given this particular Arcus model that you're watching in the video right now to him. And in the next week or so, when this model starts to hit in the regional warehouses, because we announced it when it was on the water, and very, very soon it's going to be in regional warehouses, we're going to hopefully try and coordinate that release with the release of a new video that shows it in the hands of a particularly good pilot, because I felt particularly average on this particular day of shooting, but still the model shows up very, very well.
Well, I think it's awesome. I love that it's sort of retro, but at the same time, it's a precision aircraft made to think of the. We don't have to think of it. But the knife edge ability of a body like that, it's just
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah, it's a lovely flat sign, absolutely. And we've actually,
All right.
if you look at the rudder there, on the trailing edge of the rudder, it's now slightly flared out like this, and that was a note from our F3A pilot who
Oh
is at
yeah,
our club,
you
and
can see it.
yeah, and he's a team pilot for Hobbyking as well. That adds extra stability in knife edge.
I
So
thought I knew it all. I did not know that. I've never heard that before.
I mean, it makes perfect sense, but I didn't know it until I asked about it, because he had an original one and he had done it himself just with some
Right.
popsicle sticks and filler. I was like, oh, why have you done that? Told me about it, made sense. I could see the
Put it in
benefits
the
of it.
model.
So I was like, yep, we can do that. So we did it. And this is one of the good examples of what comes from working closely and being part of the community. The community that you have either at your field or virtually. And this is a good example of local community and something good coming out of it. But later on, there'll be another example of that, of a global community, online, that again helps to bring a product to market. So we don't just sell to our customers; we are our customers. So we
Right.
can
Oh, I
have a
like
nice relationship with our customers, because they're our flying buddies, they're our they're our friends online, they're all of that, and it helps make
right.
a better product.
And now we're moving on to the Yak 2.
Yep, there it is, Yak-11. Now, I will say
I'm sorry,
this.
the Yak-11. Apologize.
Some people pulled me up on this, the Scout Police. Technically, you might call this a Yak-3, this particular scheme, but we've just if you didn't know, if I hadn't mentioned anything right now, you wouldn't know. But the Yak-11 itself in real life never actually had this scheme. What the real one has in real life is actually a Yak 3, but with a radial engine, and basically it looks identical to the Yak-11. So because we always enjoy some artistic license with some of the models, we thought, well, you know what, it looks fantastic. Let's just apply it to the Yak-11, and people should dig it. And actually, they really have. Actually proven this version, because Jim, let's take it back a bit. The original version that we had was the 2-seat version. Came out about 2 years ago. That was good, and people loved it, but it wasn't particularly popular. A little bit disappointing in that respect.
Okay.
We brought out the single-seat version, and it massively outsold the original 2-seat.
Okay.
So that shows what I know, because personally, I prefer the 2-seat version, but seems that the masses like the single-seat one. But the point being is, we were able to apply a scheme that worked well on it, and it just looks. I'm really happy with the results. Really, really happy. So this is. I'll probably go over a little bit of the details. So this is 1450 mil span, a 6S setup, but actually at that size, it's got the presence and the performance of like a 1600. It flies on the same packs as a 1600, so anything from a 5000 to 6000, and it's fast. It's really, really fast, and it's got that great prop ripping sound.
All right, and it's big. I mean, for
that's the thing. It looks big. It's like span wise, it's smaller than our Super Scano, but it's such a fat fuselage that it like visually takes up a lot of space, and
right.
You don't buy it. Well, you don't, when you get it, it doesn't feel like you got a 1450. It feels like you got a 1600 plus.
Gotcha.
That's nice. You get more money, more model for your money, as it were.
Tell me about these retracts.
Yes. So when we got hold of this model, one of the improvements that we made, we put these oleos, like full metal oleos, on the wheels, on the undercarriage, which you never had in a previous life, and it handles the ground much better for that. We changed the geometry as well. And it's pretty basic, but small little tweaks here and there really go a long way. And particularly over the earlier 2-seat version, we worked hard with our staff in the factories to really up the QC in terms of paint finish and decal finish and everything else. And it is far superior now to what it was on even the 2-seat version. We were very happy with the paint finish. The colors look fantastic, and that red on the cow really pops, and it's great because it's at the front, so you really need to know what way it's pointing when it's going
Yes.
past, because it's going very fast, of course.
Right.
So it looks fantastic for it.
Let's see it take off.
Yeah. Now it's got a lot of rotational torque. So you what I'm telling people here is slowly feed in the power, hold on some elevator, and then just release the elevator. So apply less elevator, and it naturally takes off, whilst at the same time, countering the rotational torques and right rudder. Taxing on this one, you would want to hold full up just to keep that tail planted down. But you'll see on the takeoff,
and that's pretty decent grass. So the fact that it'll take off
this
of
thing,
that,
it's fully grass capable. And this is where I do all my testing as well. So every model we develop has to be by default grass capable.
That's good.
Now you saw they actually lifted off quite slow. I was going quite conservative on the power because I didn't want it just talking off like that. So it actually almost took off at like a third throttle. But the first passed, and for the rest of them, it really rips past. It's smaller than the Super Scano. The Super Scano has more torque, but this one has more speed. You can prop hang the Super Scano. You can't prop hang this, but the Yak is faster. It is absolutely faster. I mean, I've got an interesting story about the development of this one. If you want me to,
yes,
that Jim. So I was talking before about the Arcus and how locally we worked with community here close to me at my club. That worked really well. Now to the other side of the coin, or the other end of the spectrum, if you like, on a more global and online scale, I reached out to a guy called Mr. Smoothie on RC Groups about 2 years ago, and he had the original 2-seat version of the Yak-11, and I saw this work that he did. Jim, you've pulled those pictures up now, and you think you may be looking, you might be mistaken for thinking you're looking at the new Hobbyking Yak-11 Steadfast, but you're not. This is actually his 2-seat version that he converted to Steadfast. And I was really impressed with his work. So I reached out to him and I said, look, we've got this 2-seat one. I saw what you did. We're actually thinking we'd really like to offer a single-seat one. And, and if you're interested, I'd love to talk to you more about that, because, I'd appreciate some reference images, stuff like that. And, any help you give, we'll give you some store credit. Give you a shout out, on the web copy, depending, how far we go with cooperating. And
the YouTube video.
There is a YouTube video. He's I think in your official thread that you did, editorial, he posted his video. There you go. But this is his video of the one that we sent him. He's got another video of the original conversion. So anyway, I'm eating some blueberries. I was chatting to him, and he was a super nice guy. And Nicky's name is Mr. Smoothie, and he was very happy and honoured, actually, that we'd even seen it. But like I said, we're customers first, so we see all the same stuff that everyone else sees, because we're doing it for fun. So he was very pleased and happy to help. He gave us reference for the canopy, which was extremely helpful, and for all the decals and markings that he made up. That was very helpful, and for the colors as well. This is all stuff we could have naturally done ourselves. It would have taken a lot longer, and it was nice to have that experience of doing it with someone else from the community. I do like what, as I call them, these community builds, because it makes it that much more satisfying. And if you compare the two, his original conversion is actually pretty close to our finished product. The only thing that we did omit on this version was on the top of the cowl on his one, and on the original, on the full size, there's an intake, an additional air intake on the top of the cowl. We didn't go for that. If you look at his one, he's got it there. That's what the full size has as well. Just for production reasons and costs and time, we didn't go for that. But again, if I hadn't told you, most people wouldn't have noticed. But the point is, it still looks fantastic. We're very pleased, and it wouldn't have been the same model if it wasn't for his help contributing there. So really grateful for him, and found through RC Groups. That's one of the great things about RC Groups. It's It's that online community. It's the extension of your local community.
When I started out with Hobby Lobby way back in the olden days, my first real grab into the hobby was finding great airplanes on RC groups and then pitching them to the company, and then we would produce them, and they become #1 sellers.
Yep.
And that's what pretty much allowed me to get into the industry because of all the users on RC groups making great designs.
Yeah, and even still it's a whole wealth of thing. I mean, if you look at Mr. Smoothie's profile, he's still
holy cow,
some beautiful conversions and bashes, and not just him, of course. There's lots of people.
I'm going to reach out to you, Mr. Smoothie. So keeping an eye on your inbox.
I'm sure he'll be very keen. Yeah, fantastic guy. And like with most of the people we work with, both as community outreach and in the company, it's a real community because we're modelers first. More than above anything else, we're modelers first.
Well, speaking of being a modeler, I can see that we're here in your den of RC antiquity. Is there anything around you or in your head that you can share with the users at this point in the game?
There's a lot of junk, I can tell you that, but that's because my wife has got a lot of her boxes behind me. I mean, it might be precious to her, but to me, it's just stuff that fills spaces. So I coexist in this space with my wife's stuff. But dotted in and around, well, in some of those boxes, there's some prototype bits and pieces. I got some personal models up here. This is a 6-scale Fokker, and that's a Zeroli Texan directly above me. We got an old Texumo wing behind me on there, but what you see behind my left shoulder is the Twin Otter. Now, Jim, you will remember, and hopefully your viewers will remember too, we had a little conversation about this at Joe Knoll in April. And yes, it was in April. It's been that long. So this is still coming. As you can see, the propellers are painted now. It's actually going into production at some point very soon. So I expect by early spring, we'll have the Twin Otter. I can say that now because we already announced it. Did we announce it too early? Yes, most likely. But there was a lot of eager beavers at the company. So they just wanted to show our wares. And that was one of them.
Sure. I know people want to buy things when they see them and they're like, I've got to have it. So there's a problem there. But also, if something was coming, I'd want to know about it.
Well, I think we can say, with a lot of certainty that next year you'll be able to buy that at Joe Knoll, if not before, or certainly before. So, but that one I'm very excited for. Actually, this is the one we've just shot the video we use for media. So that's my media model. It comes with floats. So we've just, that's the second part. We filmed that at the same lake that we filmed the Albatross V2 at. And I don't know if you remember, but one of the more infamous videos I did is where I had the Albatross V2 and I was sitting there on the deck and I was like, right, here we are at the lake. We're going to put the model in now. It's beautiful here. We're going to fly, have a really nice, relaxing, sitting on the dock of the bay kind of vibe going on. And I threw the model, I put the model into the water, pushed it away, and I hadn't plugged the battery in. I was like, I got nothing. And then we tried sticks and we tried all kinds of things to get it back. And in the end, I just had to jump in. So I dived in my underwear, and it was freezing. It was October, and it was so cold. But anyway, the point being is that's the same location. But this time, it was in October again, but a few years later. So this time I did make sure it was turned on. All that is to say is that it does fly beautifully off floats, which are included. But yeah, so media is getting wrapped up for that now. So hopefully you'll see more on the Twin Otter, the Avios Twin Otter.
I've got to share a story with you. When right before we went live or on the video, I remembered this. We shot an interview on the line at Joe Knoll this year, and it was probably about 1:00, and it was really hot. And this is the same interview where the mic went out and we had to shoot it twice. Okay. So I was not happy that I did that to you or me, that we shot this great interview.
I remember. Yeah, I saw.
But when I got home, so that day, I remember instead of eating breakfast or lunch, I just ran to the field and was eating like protein bars, right? And I don't think I was aware of this at the time, but when I got home, I was like, I've got to watch this video. And I realized after seeing myself in the video, I was like sunstroked, or I don't know what I had ran myself to the end of my rope, and obviously in the video I was like struggling after doing all that I did up to that moment in the day. So
And then you had to do it twice.
yes,
But wasn't it then the next day that we then had the torrential, like biblical scale rain that came and like washed everything, half the flight line away?
I have a short video of that where all I do is pan out of the building, the main building, and the rain literally is sideways and just scorching.
Yeah, and awesome. Like we're sitting under our little booth there trying to keep dry, but of course the water's rising, so we're standing in like this much water, so our shoes are completely ruined and soaked anyway. But at least our heads were dry. Yeah, that was all. Yeah, it was pretty wild. The weather.
That's the Joe Knoll experience. Never. It's always going to give you something interesting.
Yeah, it's either a dust bowl or a quagmire.
Right, and it could happen in the same day.
Yeah, no, I think we should be going back there again. So I look forward to more of the same next year. Yeah.
Well, I want to thank everybody at Hobbyking. I know if you don't know, Hobbyking is under new staff and vice presidents and ownership, and you guys are bringing out airplanes, new and bringing out older, reiterated versions of loved airplanes.
We've had a busy year this year. It's gearing up. We've got a lot in production now, and we're gearing up for just as busy, if not busier, like most likely busier, 2025, because we were focusing on core categories for 24 just to get reestablished.
Right.
That's an ongoing process, but in line with that, moving into 25, we're going to be reintroducing stock into the other categories as well. So it should be busier, which is only good news for everyone else out there.
Great.
So we look forward to bringing that to you.
So keep your eye on our channel. Keep your eye on the Hobbyking YouTube channel. I keep my eye on it. And when you bring out something new, I do a feature article that you'll find on RC Groups or Flying Giants. Mm-hmm. And hey to everyone on your team. And we all, RC Groups, appreciate you stopping out of your day and talking to us about your products.
Well, Jim, thank you for having me. And I hope you guys that are watching this have been enjoying it. And I'm sure we'll do another one of these at some points in the future, or maybe at Joe Knoll again if I see you there, Jim, next year.
All right.
Okay.
Awesome.
Thank you very much, RC Group.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. Thanks to everyone who watches our videos and hits all the buttons and shares it. And basically, we're out here propelling the hobby. So help us do that. Catch you later, Stewart.
Thank you, Jim. Take care. Good night.